On today's episode, we are going to be taking a dive deep into the intersection of cutting edge technology and the staffing and recruiting industry. We're going to talk about the relevance of artificial intelligence and specifically Chat GPT and revolutionizing the way we approach the talent industry. AI has emerged as a game changer in various sectors, and the staffing and recruiting industry is no exception. So by leveraging AI-powered tools like Chat GPT, organizations can streamline their foundational processes. They can enhance their efficiencies and unlock new opportunities for success. You can truly up-level every member of your team in your organization. So stay tuned as I'm going to talk about 10 used cases that you could start in your office today, later in the show. However, alongside these potential benefits, there are also important challenges to consider when incorporating AI in our field. So we're going to touch on these as well. You're going to see those in the ebooks that's going to be sent to you after the show. And for our podcast listeners, check the show notes for that ebook. So if you're an operations leader, think about this conversation as how you develop foundational processes needed to transform your workflows with all of the incoming AI. Make them a part of each and every one of your processes. That will in turn make your teams faster so you can reduce your time to fill and your teams can be more efficient to produce more revenue. So through this episode, we'll delve into both the advantages and the complexities of using AI in the staffing and recruiting industry, give you use cases that could be adopted in your firm to help your teams grow and scale in maybe the future quarter. Now, I am happy to announce there's going to be essentially a part 2 of this conversation. We're doing the workshop here live today, but we're also going to be doing an industry spotlight on the exact same topic with Mr. Jim Stroud. That will be dropping on July 13th. So again, be sure you're subscribed to our podcast. Katie may or may not drop the link today for you so you don't miss the episode. Jim was not only the global head of sourcing and recruiting strategy for Randstad, but he's a thought leader. He's an influencer and Chat GPT and AI enthusiast that has been talking all things Chat GPT and why you need to pay attention to this topic and what you can do to better prepare your organizations for this landslide topic outside of our use cases today, of course. So with that being said, let's dive in. AI is a game changer in our industry. Just like any other, it can automate repetitive tasks like candidate sourcing, screening, email outreach with candidates and clients, which means recruiters have more time for personalized interactions. Now, most of you may already be using AI in your firms and agencies today, and the benefits are honestly pretty lengthy. You could have improved efficiencies, enhanced candidate matching through search, bias reduction, improved candidate and client experiences. You could enhance data-driven decision-making, help with pipeline management, streamline onboarding. The list could go on. Now, if you add in AI-driven platforms like ChatGPT, then it could become your super sleuth, uncovering patterns, insights, key information that's buried within mountains of data. So talk about making data-driven decisions and leveling up talent management. Here we go. Now, as you're hearing all of these buzzwords, you might be thinking, well, what's the difference between regular AI and generative AI? These terms are coming fast at us. So let's first start there. AI is a fancy term for creating smart machines that can do human-like tasks. It's all about teaching computers to maybe automate the mundane tasks that you and I do day in and day out. But it's pulling the trigger on the pre-planned activity. You don't have to pull that trigger. Generative AI is where we're really going to focus today. It's a specific type of AI that's about creating new stuff. It's like giving machines an artistic side. With generative AI, we essentially train models to understand patterns, come up with new content that looks a lot like the original data that it was trained on. We're talking about AI models like Chat GPT for today's focus that maybe are capable of generating content that's creative, original, and honestly, eerily human-like. So to sum it up, AI is about smart machines and automation, while generative AI is about teaching machines to be creative, making cool new things and new content. The world of AI and generative AI isn't a sci-fi movie. It's not anywhere else. It's right here, right now, shaping the future of staffing and recruiting industry as we speak. So buckle up. We're going to go over the benefits of using it, how you can transform your teams and your workflows, and how to best use it through use cases and prompts. So whether this is your first time hearing about ChatGPT or you're knee deep and been using it for a bit now, get ready. It's rapidly changing our industry, and it's going to be a wild ride. You need to be eyes wide open for this one. Now that you know the difference, I want to do a quick pulse check or poll. Now, we don't do polls like we did before, so Katie's going to throw up a banner for us. And my question to you guys is, how are you using AI in your offices today? Use the chat function for me. I want you to tell me one of four things. You're not using any. You're not using any AI. Maybe you're using basic AI, regular AI, just thinking automations. Maybe you're using automations and generative AI, but maybe you could do some more fine tuning. Or maybe you do all of it well. Do you do automations and generative AI really well, and you're here for the popcorn? I guess it's a hot thing in the chat. All right, I see some people using AI, not using AI, creating templates, helping for job descriptions, not using. I see a lot of not using. I'm going to give you so many goodies today. I love it. Keep putting those in the comments. I love to hear that. Now, I want to do a part 2 of that question. So some of you are actually already answering it now. What part of your workflows are you using AI in today? Are you using it in sourcing? Are you using it in recruiting? Are you using it in sales? Or are you using it in all of the above? Ooh, I see business development and prospecting. That speaks to my heart. I see resume summary, generating keywords, sourcing. All right, marketing. I see marketing and sourcing. Those are some pretty common things that I see. I don't necessarily see us using it across the board, but that's okay. I'm going to give you some examples on all fronts right now. I love it. So I'm going to talk about the benefits and challenges of using Chat GPT in the staffing and recruiting industry. I mean, we already talked about some of the many benefits of using generative AI can have on your desk just a minute ago, but I want to take it a step further. One of the biggest and most reoccurring topics that I am hearing at conferences, shows, articles I'm reading, in my conversations is around upskilling the workforce. Now, if you've listened to our FDE Express episode from June 8th, was that a few days ago? I encourage you to listen to that. As I really talked about the World Economic Forum, the 2023 Future Jobs Report. It predicted that nearly 70 million new jobs will be created worldwide, and 83 million will be eliminated by 2027. Now, due to these rapid changes, almost half, 44% of the workforce will either need reskill or upskill themselves to meet modern business needs. Let that sink in for a minute. 1.46 billion people will need to be upskilled or reskilled in the next 5 years. That's crazy. I want you to think about this tool, Chat GPT, that we're going to talk about today in the process of upskilling and reskilling your team. It's about learning new skills, a new topic, a new industry, a new vertical. But imagine being able to do that faster and at scale. It's all about giving folks the knowledge and information to thrive in their work environment, but be able to do that faster with AI. Picture recruiters and job seekers leveling up their game with AI assistance. Imagine being able to learn a new industry for your recruiting arm of your business in the quarter of a time. Being able to have interview questions generated at the drop of a hat for your job that maybe you've never encountered before with no prior knowledge of the industry. Using AI to assist you in your knowledge around a topic, but be able to maybe put out blogs to support your marketing efforts for your firm. Let alone the idea of being able to automate those boring, mundane tasks, freeing up the time and being able to focus on things that require human judgment and empathy. It is a win-win. So now there's a flip side to that coin. There's a staggering stat from Goldman Sachs. I'm not quite sure if you've heard of it yet, but they estimate that 45% of global jobs are at risk of automation in the coming decades. That's where generative AI comes into play. Now, it has the power to automate tasks previously done by humans that involves thinking and decision-making, but don't panic. While it might raise concerns about job displacement, it's about leveling your skills up. It's designed to augment and empower recruiters rather than replace them. The future jobs won't be that you won't have a job in the near future, but you will no longer be able to do a job without AI assistance. I think that's where we're going. And it opens up exciting opportunities for job evolution and the creation of new roles that bring out the best in both humans and AI. Now, Salesforce recently put out a stat and found that 67% of senior IT leaders are pushing to adopt generative AI across their businesses within the next 18 months, with 1/3 naming it their top priority. Now, at the same time, a majority of these same senior IT leaders have concerns about what could happen. Among those reservations, the report maybe found that 59% believe generative AI outputs are inaccurate and 79% have security concerns. So, in adopting generative AI, organizations are almost simultaneously pushing the accelerator to the floor while working on the engine at the same time. This urgency without clarity is a recipe for a misstep and mistakes. So please be cautious when using this tool in your arsenal. We're going to talk about this. Now, yeah, ChatGPT has some serious potential, but we've got to keep in mind the importance of responsible use, transparency when using tools like this. You see, there are a couple issues we need to watch out for, like plagiarism and bias outputs and more. Since ChatGPT learns from massive amounts of data, there's a chance it might unintentionally spew out biased or incorrect information. Let alone, please realize it's not going to give you the latest, greatest. It's only pulling inputs up to 2001. Yikes. But fear not, there are ways to tackle this. We need to keep a close eye on the outputs, consistently monitoring and evaluate them. And let's not forget about having a robust mechanism in place to detect and correct any biases that might slip through. You can use other tools like originality.ai to help catch ChatGPT's plagiarism. Nothing like using technology to check technology. But ChatGPT it doesn't grasp the nuance, understanding, and context that us as humans possess. That's why we still need the good old human touch in managing relationships and negotiations, building genuine connections with candidates and clients, understanding their motivations, and nailing those new job orders and job offers truly requires empathy and judgment that AI simply can't replicate. Something else to keep in mind when using a tool like this is your data privacy. Use judgment when putting mounds of data into a tool like ChatGPT. We are truly still in the infancy stages of AI. Let's be real. They're using your data to continue to develop and grow their solutions to help others. So always be careful in putting personal information of your candidate or your clients or anything else that's your secret sauce for success into that tool. Now, to sum it up, ChatGPT in staffing and recruiting can really bring some fantastic advantages, like turbocharging processes, boosting efficiency, and more importantly, I mentioned leveling up your teams. So let's take all of your newbies and advance them like 6 to 9 months. Take all of your mid-level performers and make them speak the language of your A-level players. And just think, using tools like this will truly define who your top producers are today. Now, think about AI as an operational tool in recruiting. That's the first place to start. We talk a lot about driving efficiencies and productivity to new heights, but that really goes back to foundational processes. And if you've been with us in the past, we talk a lot about that on this show. We can't just have the do more mentality without building parts of this into your established processes today. You can't have the wild, wild west and have everyone using this tool differently, not knowing what works best, who's getting the best return on their investment, and trying to scale it across teams at the same exact time. You have to measure success, the time save, the productivity, and understand what makes sense to use this tool and where across your teams. You have to choose how your teams are going to be using this for scale in the future. What is the go-to method? So think, where does this make sense to use automation to free up your recruiters' time, allowing them to focus on more strategic and high-value activities, such as building relationships with candidates and clients, conducting in-depth interviews, providing personalized guidance through the hiring process. And as we dive into the use cases where it makes sense to have collaboration between recruiters and the AI tool so you have the optimal outcome. Now, before I deliver these use cases, which is where I'm really excited about, I need you to understand some foundational knowledge yourself about ChatGPT before we dive in. Foundational knowledge, as you know, how to use the tool before you start asking questions or asking it things expecting the perfect answer. Now, this is coming from someone who's been using the tool since, I would say, January. I'm going to help you eliminate the mistakes that I made so you can fast track your team success. Now, Katie's going to help me. She's going to throw, I think, two more banners up. I'm so sorry, Katie. I'm keeping her very busy today. My question to you is, are you currently using Chat GPT in your office? We've talked about automation and we talked about generative AI and what you are using, but are you using a Chat GPT tool for generative AI or a tool like it? Let me know in the chat so I can kind of get an idea of who's using it. Justin, you said Boolean. I know that conversation was a while ago, but ooh, you speak to my heart. I see some yeses. I see some nos. All right. It's a mixed bag today. That's all right. Just started using it for myself and not work, not so much the office. That's okay too. All right. No. Tanya, girlfriend, I got you, sister. I'm ready to give you some hints. All right. Those of you who said yes, I have a part 2 question for you. Have you implemented them across your team's workflows foundationally? So being used the same across the board. Each person isn't using it as they see the need. So are they using it maybe foundationally or individually? When I say foundationally, it's a process, a workflow. ChatGPT is my secret assistant. I love that, JD. Okay. I see some individual approaches. All right. Individually. I love that. And that's okay. This is a tool that we're playing with on an individual basis, but I want you to think about scale when you start to think about these things that we go over. Really understanding how can we make this across the board? How can we measure success for this to know that we're using this the right way? Now, thank you for your help in this chat. Now, here's a pro tip. I'm sure you have heard this concept before. And you probably, if you've been here with me before in the podcast, you've heard it, but data in is data out. Just like using your ATS and CRM, the better the data is going into your system, the better end result you have. ChatGPT is no different. It's about asking the right questions and providing the right prompts. It truly can make all the difference. Seriously, it's the secret sauce. The quality of input we give ChatGPT determines the quality of responses we get. So operation leaders, recruiters, and all other here, listen up. Frame those questions and prompts effectively to extract accurate and relevant information. It works wonders for candidate sourcing, screening, emails, and so much more. Trust me. We're going to dive into the goods. I feel like I'm like building up to this amazing thing, which it is. So when you open up these tools, it is blank. If you've ever gone in there, ChatGPT is blank. It's a blank box, no details, just a box that you have to type into to get an output. It's like, I feel like you're like rubbing a vase for a genie to pop out. You have to create the prompt the right way. So I want you to think of this in a certain format. When you think of prompting with this tool, I want you to think of who, what, and how. Who, what, and how. Be specific and detailed. I saw in the chat. I just vaguely read that. You are absolutely right. So whenever you think of the who, you are a blank. You are telling ChatGPT who you are. You are an executive recruiter with 15 years of experience in the accounting and finance industry. Maybe you're an industry thought leader in the staffing and recruiting industry. Maybe you're a researcher that is understanding the cannabis industry. Be specific of who you are. Tell ChatGPT, oh man, Katie, I can't talk, who you want them to be. Now, what? I need you have to be very specific what you need out of the tool. I need you to write a blog around a certain topic. I need you to generate ideas for a certain topic. Teach me about a certain topic. Maybe you want to put your own ideas in and help them rewrite your own ideas, or create a social post or email about a topic or a summary that you described. So number 2 is the what, the output you want. And last is the how. So think about the how is the tone you want it to be told in. I don't know about you. Maybe I'm witty professional or casual conversational. Maybe you want it to be formal persuasive. It's really how you want the output to be told. So pro tip, tell it who you intend the audience to be. In addition to who, ChatGPT should try to emulate with their response, well, you're a sourcer writing a job description to the intended audience of X. Or even if the intended audience has a base knowledge, give that to ChatGPT. I always find that it yields better results if it knows who it needs to be talking to as you're going about this. Now, ChatGPT is something that learns. The more you do it, the more you tell it, the more it'll learn who you are, what you want from it, what you need. It'll learn more about your industry, the more information you put in, the details that you feed it, and maybe the tone of voice in which you write. I found I critiqued it a lot in the beginning. Katie and I, obviously we work very hand in hand, but she said, use it like your personal assistant. Tell it like you tell an intern. And it's such valid information. No, I need you to blank maybe what it did before. So good things to think about. So, all right, folks, you got the prompting down. Now that you got the hang of the framing the questions and the prompts effectively, which will be in our ebook when we send it out, let's explore how you can put Chat GPT to work in your staffing and recruiting processes. It's time to dive into real world cases, practical ways to help your team scale. If we have time during the AMA, we'll get to more. But yes, it can do things like rewriting emails. I do it on a daily. I ask it to shorten stuff, lengthen stuff, have a certain thought process. It can help you rewrite a message in that conversational, witty tone. Or maybe rewrite old content in a way. Just take it one step further. So number one way that you can use ChatGPT is to help you with job descriptions. I saw that in the chat in a few ways. So it can help you with job descriptions in a few ways. How often do you get a job description from a client that is just not a 10 out of a 10? My guess is always. Oftentimes, job descriptions in our industry are the laundry list of things the client needs. That's never maybe written enough or truly paints the picture of who's interested and what the party can become if they apply for the job. Remember, candidates aren't the only ones that have to sell themselves for a role any longer. Clients have to be the employer of choice, the reason why a candidate should come to work for a company. That's what's in it for the candidate. Who will they become after working at this amazing organization? So you can use ChatGPT. Ask it to rewrite the job description to be able to explain who the candidate will become after taking this role. And again, I love this most is because I'm putting the information in. It's not going to pull any information. It's transforming it within seconds. Now, I could do it on my own, but it would probably be more clunky, take more time, and frankly, maybe not be as good. But you must do a quality control check. You must read it, change what you don't like, and ensure it speaks to the audience in your industry. You can also use tools like this to maybe reword a job description to improve readability before posting to a job board. Leveraging ChatGPT, recruiters can craft an engaging, accurate job descriptions to attract the right talent. Also, maybe change the tone of the description, enhance readability, ensure that job descriptions are clear and concise, and frankly, just more appealing. So job boards is number one on your list. Number two, you can generate interview questions. So you know how it's important to ask the right questions during a job interview, right? How many times have you forgotten to ask an important question and you think of it as soon as you hang up the phone? Well, ChatGPT can make this process a whole lot easier. It can help you generate a list of interview questions specifically tailored to different roles. This means recruiters can really get into the nitty-gritty of a candidate's skills, experience, and whether they'll be a fit for the company culture, all while recruiters are building that trust and that relationship. So let's say you're on the hunt for an Azure developer. I was an IT recruiter. I apologize about that reference. ChatGPT can come to the rescue with questions that deep dive into the candidate's technical experience. Stuff like how to solve problems that they're seeing, knowledge of programming languages and frameworks, or even cool things like algorithm designs or debugging techniques. It's like having a tech-savvy sidekick, especially when you don't have the team that maybe knows those details in the beginning. Or, flip side, helping that veteran recruiter think of questions that they might not have thought about on the fly. But wait, there's more. Cultural fit is a big deal too. ChatGPT can totally help with that. By understanding the company's values, its work environment, the dynamics of the team, it can come up with interview questions that give you a sense of how well the candidate will fit in. Think of questions about teamwork, adaptability, how they handle tough situations and conflict. And get this, it can even help with behavioral-based questions. You know, the ones where candidates share specific examples of their past experiences. These questions are great because they help you figure out how someone handled things before you get a clue on how to handle similar situations in the future. Now, the best part is with ChatGPT or a tool like that on your side, you can get a whole bunch of interview questions in no time at all. You can save them in your system of record for your entire team to use when screening candidates for that specific job order. Again, that means you can take a deep dive, evaluate people thoroughly, make better informed decisions about who's going to be the perfect fit for the job, and it saves you time and you can scale easily. Take that new recruiter and accelerate their production. Take that veteran recruiter to think differently. Again, a win-win. Number 3, generating search strings for candidate sourcing. You know what's a pain? Coming up with those killer search strings to find the best candidates when you're sourcing talent. I mean, who on your team really loves writing those fancy Boolean strings? Do they spend late nights honing in on their search skills? Yeah, probably not. But fear not, there's a quicker, easier way to do it. It can help recruiters like you generate effective search strings that optimize the whole sourcing process, save you loads of time. No more struggling with complex syntax and operators. Now, here's the thing. You just give Chat GPT the description, ask it to create a Boolean search, and boom. You can enter it in your applicant tracking system. You can use it to go put it in LinkedIn to find the cream of the crop. Forget about relying on some fancy AI tool to match your resumes in your system. You just need the quickest and most effective and efficient way to find people for the job. And you want to know what's even better? You can actually see what you're searching for, tweak the outcome, match exactly what you need. Unlike those other tools that kind of work in the background in mysterious ways, this gives you control. Let's face it, we all make mistakes when it comes to Boolean, forgetting a title, missing an and or a not, or messing up those pesky parentheses. It happens. So take advantage of AI, feed it the job description, whip up some search strings, and do a quality control check. Run it through your ATS, and that's some handy assistance right now. Say goodbye to those headaches and hello to the perfect candidate searches with ease. All right, job title exploration. I'm curious if anybody has used it this way. Let's talk about those moments when you get a new search. The company you're working with throws some fancy, innovative job title at you. Let's face it, companies try to be unique right now. Or worse yet, they try to call something you have recruited for years by a completely different name. That's enough to make your head spin, right? Say goodbye to those endless hours spent on LinkedIn trying to find candidates with similar skills, but different titles. By using a tool like this, it can save you from the never-ending click rabbit hole that leads you nowhere. Let's say you're looking for a candidate with a specific set of skills, but the job title is just throwing you off. Simply input the job requirement and the skills into the tool, and voila, it'll generate alternative job titles that might be the perfect match. I don't know about you, but there will be no more time scrolling through endless profiles, getting distracted by unique past experiences, and before you know it, you're in another industry. Maybe it hasn't happened to you, and it's happened to me. It's essentially the shortcut for uncovering those elusive alternative jobs. It's like having a personal assistant, I saw that in the chat, who shifts through the noise, presents you with the best options in a fraction of the time. Now you can do what you're best at, finding the right talent for the job. Or maybe you're lucky enough to have a junior recruiter with less experience in the industry. Help them accelerate their learning curve by letting these tools be your secret weapon in job title exploration. Number 5, writing candidate outreach messages and templates. You know what's the most popular way for using these AI tools? Yep, you guessed it. It's all about writing those killer candidate and client outreach messages and templates. I mean, who hasn't wished for some extra help in crafting personalized and captivating messages to grab the attention of a potential candidate or client? Well, here it is, conversational AI to the rescue. They can be game-changing for recruiters and business developers. With the assistance of Chat GPT, we can draft an outreach message that are not only informative, but engaging. Imagine creating email templates that make people go, hey, this recruiter really gets me. But think of this in an operational perspective. We're going back to that. These tools can help us set up a cadence of emails, text messages, sequences. You know how crucial it is to stay on top of every touch point in the recruiting process, each and every touch to gain a new logo. With some of the help of AI and adding these messages to our own in-house automation tools, we can ensure that we don't miss a beat and follow up with potential candidates and clients at just the right time. Now, scaling's a breeze, right? It's all about finding what works and replicating that success across your whole team. This means even our mid-level producers can level up their game and use the same effective language that our top performers use. Number 6, assisting in candidate qualification through analysis. Now, you ever have that feeling when you're staring at a resume on a job description, going back and forth like a tennis match to actually see if the candidate's a fit? It can be quite the head scratcher. So why not use generative AI to lend a helping hand? No, I'm not talking about some fancy software that evaluates people for you and says yes or no. It's not like that at all. We want the human element, but sometimes we need just a little kickstart. So you can feed a resume and a job description into the tools, and they can give you insights on whether the candidate is a fit for the job or not. It'll analyze the information, help you understand why or why not someone might be a good fit. And it's like having a second opinion to validate your gut feeling. And then go back to the idea. You can generate those interview questions to help make sure you're eliminating any misses. Recruiters like us can streamline that candidate qualification process and getting stuck in first gear. It's like that kickstart to propel us into second gear, helping us move along just a little bit faster. Now, don't be scared to let the tools do some heavy lifting for you. Analyze candidate qualifications, understand gaps, get a head start on finding the best fit candidates. It's like having that trusty co-pilot to help you navigate the recruiting industry. But I want to remind you, don't forget about the personally identifiable information, the PII. Again, you will have to know your limit on what you want to share. If we want to be careful about putting candidate information into Chat GPT, you might only want to put candidates' job history, relevant skills, and pull out any identifying information about them, where they work, their job title, maybe remove the schools, including degrees, etc. I better get moving or Katie's going to be on me. Number 7, yes, you can generate ideas and brand content. Let's face it. Talk about brand initiatives. We're going to see a competition and we need to stand out. So use ChatGPT to help you create blogs, social media content, videos, really to help you fuel your ideas and pipeline and really keep it flowing. I say a lot of the same messaging. I'll ask ChatGPT to take a blurb, a LinkedIn post, or a concept that maybe I already have in my head and write it 5 different ways. So I can have 5 different LinkedIn posts, a Twitter post, and it does it within seconds. There's no more sitting down for an hour to think about 5 different ways to say something for more options. It does it within seconds. Pro tip, you can use it as an idea generator, but take it one step further. Take your ideas that you already have and input it as a baseline to further expand your thought process. And think about employer branding campaigns. We know that you are in this on the daily, trying to do this for your clients. These tools can help you generate ideas for showcasing companies' unique perks, values, growth, career opportunities, and for people to say, wow, I want to work there. And don't forget, you can rewrite old content with ease. Number 8, researching skills, roles, and processes. Gone are the days of relying on top search hits, shifting through countless pages, wanting to learn something new. You now can get concise overview information from like 500 sources of knowledge, and it's like having your research assistant at your fingertips. So they can provide you a summary of the most important insights. And here's the kicker. It's not about Googling anymore. You can say goodbye to dealing with ads, SEO, and all the other distractions, and you can get clean data. Think about the speed of learning that you can achieve now and really focus in on upskilling your teams in a new vertical, a new industry, or even a new contract arm of your business, instead of spending hours digging through articles, blog posts, forums, and you can get all of that with ease. Number 9, writing candidate experience surveys. It's not about finding the right talent anymore. It's not just it. It's also about creating seamless, engaging journeys for new hires. So talk about surveys. We all know how valuable candidate feedback is in improving our recruitment process. You can use this tool to draft a candidate experience survey that are informative, insightful, and dare I say fun. Last but not least, to think about introductions between LinkedIn profiles. Might not be for everyone. I am a fan of this one. Are you a master networker? Talk about making those LinkedIn connections smoother than ever. It's time that you master the art of personalized introductions, no more connecting to a LinkedIn profile without a message, and make those conversations meaningful. So you can either put a candidate in that you found for a perfect role, and it's time to connect them with the hiring manager, and you want to make sure it's more than just a generic message. You can have your personal assistant craft a personalized message, or you can even go one step further. Have you ever entered 2 LinkedIn profiles into Chat GPT and asked it to craft an intro email? I have. I'm not going to lie. It was something really fun, and it's a secret weapon in crafting personal introductions. So say goodbye to cookie cutter messaging and hello to tailored attention grabbing intros. I just want you to know that this topic is going to be ever changing, constantly evolving. You're going to have an AI policy. New AI jobs are going to be coming. You're going to see new laws that'll be coming out around this topic. I'm not quite sure if you heard about New York and the data audit. New York City recently issued a law, Local Law 144, which requires a bias audit when employers use AI software like ChatGPT for employment decisions. And there's going to be stricter and stricter rules, and you're going to see more and more of this. So pay attention. We will be providing a lot of this in the ebooks, in the majority of the information that we actually went over today. Hi, guys.
Howdy, howdy.
Hello, hello.
That's me.
How I know I saw you. I saw your name earlier.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, super excited. And I have a question that's been running through my mind. I love Chat GPT. I'm a millennial, so it's right up my alley. One of the biggest questions I have is how do we stay human and encourage human development during these AI times?
That's a great question. It really comes down to figuring out, Justin and I talked about this all the time, about your workflow. Where can you save your time? So I would suggest a workflow audit. What is your process? What does your candidates go through? What does your prospects go through? Evaluate the task that can be repeated or created through an automation, but always make that come back to a human. Yes, you can fill out things. Yes, you can do things. But that's where you keep your reoccurring people that you can redeploy on projects. That's where you keep your key accounts. You make those prospects clients, those clients key accounts by the human interaction. And let's face it, it's going to get a little bit muddier as we continue to go through this, because everyone's going to, you're never going to know what's real. Am I talking to a robot? So be very transparent also whenever you're working through this with your clients or your candidates. If they're talking to a bot, let them know what the outcome is. There are times, I don't know about you, I get on this thing and it's like, oh, okay, what's the right prompt to talk to a human? But really make that process clear for you guys, and make sure that that's where you make or break your candidate pool and your client pool. Create those relationships so you can have reoccurring everything within your office. But I would go back to the process audit first and foremost.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Justin. Thanks for coming. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Cool. All right. I see several questions in the chat about plan to add AI or automations to Crelate. So I do know that we already do have automations. It's called sequences. Are there any automation tools that anyone is using specifically for sourcing? It came up here about plagiarism and how to keep from sounding like a cookie cutter response. Originality.ai is great for checking for plagiarism. And pro tip, it also checks for how much of the text is Chat GPT originated, which is really important for marketing teams looking at it from an SEO aspect. So I'll drop that link.
Katie, you were mentioning cookie cutter messaging. A lot of us already have templates that we've started for our business. I would encourage you to put those templates in Chat GPT and ask it to talk to a certain audience and see how it changes. Does it make your message better? Does it make it easier to read? So again, start with your foundational knowledge you have today. Start with those foundational templates that you have today. Maybe they just need revamped. It doesn't mean you need to start from scratch. It doesn't mean you need to ask Chat GPT that it's going to be better than you are, but start with what you have to develop, to figure out, can it be better? Is it better readability? Whatever that looks like.
Tracy, I see your question too about, do you plan on having a session on how to screen out biases in AI work processes and to avoid negative impacts to marginalized groups, or will this be in your ebook? Court, did you want to touch on that briefly, or?
Honestly, I don't. It really comes back down to, this is a tool that'll help you jumpstart. It will help you move. You're never going to be able to use this tool for the holistic output of things. So really understand that bias. Again, quality control is the name of the game for this. And I know that's not the perfect answer, but it's really the idea that you still have to be human. You still have to get them on the phone, and you still have to start with establishing where and what processes you want it to be a part of. So figure out where that goes. It'll be a little bit more in the ebook, Tracy, but again, just be really cautious, do a quality control audit to make sure, and start with your information that you have today. Start with your processes that you have today. People in our industry that are using it are going to be able to adapt faster, move quicker, upskill, reskill, and really still have a place in our industry. So it's here to stay. And I heard a quote, and I don't know if it was today when I was listening to other content, but this is like the essential, like when we first got the internet. Things are changing from that point on. I don't know about you, I remember back when my dad got the first computer, it was black with the green screen. We're going to remember this first version of Chat GPT and where it goes from here.
Oh, absolutely. And guys, a lot of the stuff will be in the ebook. Sean, I saw your question about some of the additional stats and stuff that Kortney will talk about. And additionally, we're going to be talking with Jim Stroud in that episode, dive into some of like the pros and cons more of ChatGPT and generative AI. Justin, I love it. Absolutely. If you build good relationships, you have nothing to worry about. Really, isn't that what recruiting is all about, right? Creating those strong relationships, not to, that's over here, creating relationships.
Again, this is not a wait and see. This is build the plane while we're flying it. So as staffing and recruiting operations leaders, you could realize how big of an impact generative AI could have with the future of your organization. The good news is you're still in the early stages of this concept and really can transform foundational processes within your company, help efficiencies, and scale your teams and your revenue. Obviously, throughout today's discussion, we understood what AI is really not meant to replace human involvement, but rather augment and empower recruiters in our journey. We stress the significance of continuous learning and upskilling as recruiters adapt to the evolving AI-driven landscape. While AI tools like ChatGPT can enhance efficiencies and provide valuable insights, we reiterate the essential role of the human judgment, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, managing relationships, negotiations, and deep technical interviews. I truly loved our 10 use cases, but would love to hear in other ways in which you might be using ChatGPT. You might have already told Katie that I missed throughout the chat while I was talking. Be on the lookout again for the ebook coming next week. It will go through all 10 of those in depth. And you definitely don't want to miss out with Jim Stroud, where we talk about AI, what he's seen, what challenges we may face in the future, and so much more. Now, as we conclude, I want to express my gratitude to each and every one of you for tuning into this episode. We hope you found this exploration of AI and staffing and recruiting industry informative, thought-provoking, figuring out how you're going to do this within your organization. If you have any further questions or you would like to explore more resources on this topic, reach out to us, like Katie said, fulldesk@crelate.com. I'm Kortney Harmon with Crelate. Thanks so much for joining us for the Full Desk Experience. If you've enjoyed our show, be sure to subscribe and rate our podcast wherever you listen. Have a great day, guys.